Hi everyone, it's Alyssa Guzman again. And for this final week, I explored my individual carbon footprint over a couple days and my family's carbon footprint over a year. So I've heard that term carbon footprint before, but I didn't really understand how my personal actions impact the environment. So, Hands on Labs describes one's carbon footprint as the amount of greenhouse gases, including CO2, emitted as a result of human activity. So, for this exercise, I tracked my travel, my food consumption, and energy use over 2 days: Sunday, which is a leisure day for me, and Monday, which is a work day. So, after tracking my behaviors for a couple days, I was surprised how much of my usage is based on preference and not necessity. For example, I have to drive to work or I have to get groceries for the week. I also need to do dishes and laundry, but I could have skipped my trip to Starbucks. I could have cooked dinner instead of going and picking up takeout on Sunday night. Um, Instead of going to the gym and sitting on a stationary bike, I could have just skipped the gym or walked around my neighborhood because I drove my car several miles away to the gym. In addition, my husband and I leave the porch lights on and one light in our living room all night because it makes us feel more comfortable. But at the same time, that's not good for our personal emissions. Um, Looking at this graph, that depicts trends of waste from 1960 until 2005. And 2005 is this back one here. My personal waste depicted some similar trends because paper is the largest one here. And for me, I had a ton of paper waste. At my job, we print reports every day that are on paper, and we discard the previous day's paper reports. When I wash my hands or wipe up a mess in the kitchen, I use paper towels. Plastic was also a big one. I drank pop that was in a plastic bottle. My food was in a plastic container. And then also, we can be very wasteful with food, like letting food go bad and things like that. Plastic was big here on this one. And then also, it was my second largest. And then paper was the largest for me. And as far as trends go there. So, for the next part of this exercise, I input some information about our vehicles, our household size, our income, our consumption through the Nature Conservancy, and I calculated my family's carbon footprint. And here are the results here. So actually, we were 2% better than average. And if you can see, although we exceeded in the home area, we actually did pretty well with the travel area. And I guess that shouldn't surprise me because working at a car dealership, I know that we drive relatively few miles per year compared to some consumers. So I guess that's what put us below average for that. So then, after looking at my carbon footprint, I looked at ways to reduce it. So I combined suggestions from Hands on Labs on water conservation and from globalstewards.org for how to reduce my carbon footprint in 5 different areas. To reduce trash, I could use a cloth hand towel instead of paper towels, and I could print less. I even thought twice about all the different things I was printing for this video. For transportation, I can minimize my driving. For food, I can reduce my meat consumption and buy local. For energy, I can unplug unused electronics and hang my clothes out to dry. And then finally, for water, I can flush the toilet less and then turn off the faucet while I'm brushing my teeth or while I'm soaping up my hands when I wash them. Um, as you can see in this chart from Hands on Labs, displaying carbon emissions for different types of food per kilogram. Meat and poultry emit much higher emissions compared to fruits and vegetables and grains down here. So I know reducing my meat consumption would make a difference. Hands On Labs also describes food miles as food traveling from the source to our plate and all the different emissions involved in that process. So I've already been interested in my local farmers market. Going and checking that out would give me an opportunity to buy directly from the source instead of the grocery store where all those food miles are involved. So for the final part of this exercise, I was supposed to implement some of those changes and see how they made a difference. Unfortunately, I got a late start, so I wasn't able to record how those changes impacted my carbon footprint. But at the same time, the exercise suggested we bring our reusable bag and a water bottle. And I know what a difference a water bottle can make. At my job, they provide disposable plastic cups for filtered water. And in my home, my husband insists on buying bottled water because he hates the taste of tap water. So I was always drinking those. I drink a ton of water. So I was drinking a minimum of 5 water bottles a day. A few months ago, I bought this cup. I love it. So now I don't drink any bottled water, and it's great. It keeps my drink cold. So it's better for the environment, and I like it too, and it keeps me drinking a lot of water. I feel confident some of the other methods I picked will also truly make a difference because I tried going completely vegan like 6 months ago, and a lot of that was because of the environmental impact of meat. And while I know I don't have the self control to be completely vegan, um, that chart we looked at earlier shows the clear difference between meat and poultry and grains and fruits and vegetables. And I found some good recipes. So I know that if I consume meat at one meal a day instead of two, then that's going to make an impact. Um, or because I'm pregnant and I drink a lot of water, if I sometimes I use the restroom like once or twice an hour. So if I didn't flush the urine at home and I used a hand towel instead of a paper towel after washing my hands, and then I let the water turn off when I was washing my hands, that would make a big difference on my water and my paper usage at the end of the day, just because of how many times I go to the bathroom, especially being pregnant. Um, so correspondingly, I think all the changes I outlined are actually sustainable. That's why I didn't set unreasonable goals. Global Stewards suggest walking any distance below 2 miles. I know with the weather and how busy I am, that's just not reasonable. It's not something I would stick to. That's also why I didn't choose composting. But the things I chose are realistic and they're honestly sustainable things I can implement every day. So, if you've never looked at your personal carbon emissions, I suggest you do. Track your habits for a couple days. And then, in addition to being surprised about your personal emissions, you might also be surprised how easy some of those steps are you can take to reduce your carbon footprint. Thanks.